this video, we're going to get started on exploring the ThoughtFarmer admin panel. More specifically, we're going to look at the admin panel and look at all of the features and tools there that will help you with your intranet's user interface. First things first, we are on the homepage here for our PCU community intranet, and I want to start by showing you how to access the admin panel. From your profile drop-down menu, make sure that you have admin mode enabled. If it's enabled, the slider in this slider feature will be turned into the right position. Once you have admin mode turned on, you will now look at the entire site as an administrator, meaning that all of the content that is on the site will be visible to you regardless of what the security permissions are. You also can access your admin panel from here on. I can click on admin panel here, and that brings me into the main page of our admin panel here. Let's start at the bottom right. This is the area that we call the site settings. One thing that you might often have to do is to update your license key. It will happen when you have a new maintenance period starting, or perhaps even when you are upgrading or moving your site. To change a license key, you just click on this link, and it will probably, if you're updating, it will already have a license key filled out here. What you want to do is just remove all of the text, replace it with a new license key, and a license key is something that you will get from our support team or our customer success team. Click on save, and immediately you're going to see the changes to your license reflected in the site settings. It's probably going to relate to your maintenance period and or the number of licenses that you are licensed for. In the same area, we can see the site settings. If I click on the site settings, it brings up this pop-up menu, and it has a whole bunch of information here that you can edit. Most of it is pretty straightforward. You can choose a title for your intranet. You have your site URL. This is, of course, the domain name or the URL that your staff is going to use to access the intranet. This is not something that you are going to want to touch too often, if ever. Of course, people will have bookmarked this link, and so anytime you do make a change here, that's going to affect how people access the site. You have your default time zone that you can set here for the entire site. For us here, it's set at Pacific time. This affects things like email notifications going out, digest newsletters if that's something we use. There is also, if you have staff distributed across different time zones, don't worry, this is just kind of like the default time zone that you're setting here for your intranet, but each user on the site is able to set their own personal time zone depending on where they are in their profile settings. We have our copyright notice, right? This is something that appears in the footer of your intranet. By default here is just going to say copyright, the current year, and then ThoughtFarmer. Some of our customers like to replace ThoughtFarmer with their own company name, and that is totally okay. You can do that from here. Last but not least, you're going to select your system administrator. For this site right now, it's set to Ben McConkey, so that means that Ben's name is going to appear in the footer of the site throughout the intranet as the one person that people can contact if they have any questions or concerns with the intranet. You can easily change this to another person by removing Ben, and maybe I'll set myself as the administrator here. The system administrator does have to be a unique user on your intranet, and it can only be one person. So unfortunately, there's no way to set an entire team as a system administrator. Click on save here, and those changes are going to immediately be populated throughout the site. Okay, so like I mentioned, in today's training video, we're going to focus on the user interface element in the admin panel. And the user interface, really, it's all of the options that you have with regards to how your site looks, how the content looks, everything that your users are seeing. We're going to start here by looking at the theme. This is the look and feel for your intranet. So I'm going to click on theme here, and the first thing that you can see is that there are multiple different themes or templates that you can set up for your intranet. You can have a main theme like this one here on the left, and then in this intranet we've chosen to also set a different look and feel for a spring theme as well as a summer theme. The theme that is currently in use will be indicated by this active theme label, and you can easily use another one of these themes and make it active by clicking on these ellipses here and mark this one as active. Before you want to do that, probably a good idea is to preview what that theme is going to look like on your site. So if I click on the preview button here, it's actually going to load my PCU internet site, and it's just going to show me what the difference is with how the current theme is set up. So we can see that in the spring theme, we have the background image or the background color set as a lovely springy lime green. From here, I can close my preview. If I go back into the admin panel and into the theme area, I can now either go in here, make any changes to the spring theme, or even set it as active right away. Now, before we go and take a look at edit theme, I just want to show you how you can import and export themes as well. So you can see here in each of these themes in the ellipses options, you do have an option to export a theme file. This can be handy if you do have multiple sites running of Thought Farmer and you want to easily grab all of the settings, the logos, the colors from one site and move it to the other. Just clicking the export button is going to save a .theme file on your desktop or on your computer. In this case, maybe we have another theme lying around that is fall themed. So I can export a theme, but I can also import one if I click on the import button up here. I click import, browse my computer. I know it's somewhere on my desktop, so I'm going to find it there. And here is my fall theme, which I can now upload. It has a few specific colors already. It's based on my summer theme. From here, I can go and edit it, and I'll give it the name Fall. As we can see here, even though I've imported this theme, it is still set as inactive. So let's take a look and see what is in a theme file and how you can edit it. And we're going to do that by editing our main PCU theme here. In the card preview, you can already see sort of the main sort of logos and colors that are used, as well as a preview here of the typography and the logos that are used on the header. I'm going to again open my options and click on Export. And on this page here, the main theme page, you can see the different areas that you can customize within your intranet theme. There's a place where you can upload all your logos, an area where you can define all your colors. You can make some decisions around fonts, and then the different components can be customized here as well. Last but not least, we have an area where you can add custom code, HTML, CSS, and JavaScript if that is something that you'd like to do. Let's start with logos. And this is an area that's pretty straightforward. Once you have a name and, maybe a logo for your internet, some customers choose their own company logo as their main header image. Other customers like to make or design an entire new logo that reflects the name and identity of their intranet. So the logo appears in a few different areas. You can see that the site logo, that is the one that we see up in the main site header, this one over here. But then there's also logos that come back in the sign-in page, in emails that are sent out as notifications. We will have the smaller icons that are used in the browser, as well as for desktop notifications, and of course for our mobile app. For each of these logos, you'll see that we have a clear explanation in each section as to what the recommended size and format is. So make sure to pay attention that it can make a big difference in terms of how your images and your assets come through on the site. Next up, we're going to take a look at our colors. And there's a lot of options here in the colors area. So you can see that the main navigation is our first area here. The nice thing here is depending on the colors you choose, it's going to show you a preview of how that navigation will look right on the right-hand side of the page. If you have specified brand colors already and you know the hex code for those, you can pop them right into the fields. You can also, if you wish, click on the dot here, and that's going to bring up a color picker where you can easily drag and drop your cursor to choose a very specific color. In this case, I'm going to set it back as white. One thing to note in the main navigation color area as well, you can choose whether you want your navigation items in the top to be title case, as is selected right now, or uppercase. So notice if I check the uppercase option, it changes that right away in the preview as well. Other options we have here is choosing color for buttons throughout the site. Again, we can see these preview options here on the right, as well as some options with regards to text. We have, of course, all of the body text, which is the text that appears on pages, but then also for links that appear throughout the text or throughout the pages, you can specify what color you want those to be in their normal state, as well as when you hover over them or have already visited the link that is specified. Going down here, the accent color is one that you can choose here as well. This is, think about icons that are used throughout the site, like this one right here as an example, or little highlights of tabs that are selected. That is again a color that you can check right here. And then the page header backgrounds, these relate to page headers. So I'm just going to show you an example. What we see here where it says branches, this is an example of a page header. So you do have the option for every new page that you create to edit that page header right here. If I click on the upper right corner here, I can either select an image as my page header, or I can go and choose one of the preset colors that are defined in my theme. And for this side, it's the blue, gray, purple, and pink. So these are the colors that I set right here. You can choose solid color blocks, which is what we've done here. It actually has the same color as the top and the bottom of that page header. If you want more of a gradient color for your page headers, you can just play around with the bottom color and making it a little bit darker. So what I'm gonna do here is just click on the bottom color. I'm just gonna drag my picker a little bit down. And then you can see the subtle difference here. It's now sort of like a more dynamic gradient color instead of a solid block. That's an option that you have here. You can of course add more color options for your page headers as well. By default, it will show 4, but you can add as many as you like. And then some few other color options here. These are labels here that will show up in content when it has been updated, when it's a new page that's created, or a private or future one. Again, all of those colors can be customized, as well as colors for news items or news items banners, as well as broadcast banner colors. A lot of flexibility here in terms of which colors are used throughout the site. As you have your Thought Farmer site set up, a lot of these colors will have some defaults in there, but you can really spend some time coming up with your own brand and color palette and then customizing this in the Colors tab to really have it reflect your own style and your own internet. Let's take a look at the component style. Components are really just different areas of your theme or your site, and here is a collection of options that you can play around with. The first one is the app toolbar, and this one is kind of speaks for itself. It's the bar that we see here at the top. You have a light or a dark option, depending on the brand or the theme, as well as your color palette that you're going to choose. Either the light one or the dark one may work better for your theme, so you can just easily switch between the two. And then some background color options in this component style tab. The first one is the site background. So that is the entire site background. So if you can look here, the sides of my site here are light gray. So that is something that you can choose here. It can also be an image if you prefer kind of like a patterned background or a specific image that is something that you have on file. You can choose that as well. Remember, it's for the entire site background. The one underneath here is specific for the site header. The header of the site, just to show you what it looks like, is this area over here where we have the logo. In this case, we do not have a background color defined, so it just takes on the white color. Another option that you have here is the sub image on the header. And a sub image is really just a second image on the site header. So as you can see, if I switch around here, your site logo will always appear in the header towards the left-hand side. Now, some people would like an additional image in the header. Sometimes it's a internet mascot, sometimes it's the company logo. It can be a whole number of different things. And if that's something you want to do, you can upload that image over here. You can play around with the margin on this side to position it either on the fully on the right hand side or in the middle of the site header as well. Some other options down here are images that you can, or colors that you can define for your footer, as well as a default image for profile pages. As you can see here, for both the group image and the profile image, if people do not upload an image for a group they create or for their own profile, it's just going to show a gray box, which is never super fun to look at. So if you like, as the administrator, to upload a default image that will show if people don't upload their own, you can do that over here. Last but not least, of course, like I said, we have a tab here that allows you to put in custom code to really extend the look and feel of your theme. It's not something that ThoughtFarmer does out of the box. So typically when you open your site for the first time and look at the theme, this is going to be all blank. But if there are some things that you want to really extend further, you can do that by filling out code here. A lot of our customers have a designer or a developer in-house that works with them. If there is ever something you would like to do where you feel like custom extension or custom code is needed, we do have some experts on our team as well. So you can always feel free to reach out to us and we'll help you set up. All right. So those are all of the options on your theme. There's a lot of tweaks and buttons in here that you can play around with. Now, a theme may change from time to time as well, and I just want to show you how you can find out some additional information on a specific theme or the main theme on your site. If you open up this caret item here at the top right next to the Save button, it's going to give you a bit of extra information. It's going to show you when the theme was first created and who was the last person to make changes to it. In that case, this was me yesterday. I can also click on View Activity, and that's going to show me an entire audit, if you will, of people who have made changes to this PCU theme. So just a little bit of extra information that can help you see who's made changes and can help you decide who to talk to about those changes. I'm going to cancel my changes here. And I can go back to the main theme page. So again, a quick overview of everything that has to do with the colors, the buttons, the fonts, everything to do with the look and feel of your intranet. That's the first area in our user interface, and arguably the biggest or most important one. Definitely something you want to give some thought as you are first starting on with your ThoughtFarmer intranet. Another one you may want to look at is content templates in the same user interface section. Now, you may have seen in some other videos in our training material how you can really play around with templates and cards on each page on the internet, right? Each page can have a specific layout. You can decide which components or cards are on the page and where they land on the page. And on this page on the admin panel, we can see all of the different templates for all of the different content types on your internet. So what you can do from here as well is specify different defaults for all of those different content types, different default templates. Now, before we even get down there, this is also the place where you can set permissions on who in the organization is permitted to make changes to individual pages' content templates. So every editor on a page will be able to open the card setup and make any setup changes to the cards that are already there. If you want to make additional changes, modify the template and add or remove cards on a page, that is something that requires a higher level of permission. So in here, you can decide whether that option is only available for administrators, whether it's available for everyone with view and edit permissions, or as a Goldilocks in between option, it can be a specific security group that can make those changes when they've given view and edit permission to a specific page. In this case, that is what we've chosen. We've set up a security group for our content editors, and so whenever our content editors group has been given view and edit permission on a specific page or group or newsfeed, they will be able to go into the template and make those changes. All right, so let's take a look. In our manage content templates, we are now seeing every different type of content that we have available in Thought Farmer. So there's pages and sections, there's our group pages, our calendars, forums, all of the content types we've seen before. And we can expand and collapse each of these page types to see the different templates that are available there for those content types. So one thing you'll notice is that out of the box, we're looking here at the default settings. Some content types will have only one option available, while others like sections and groups, for example, have very many templates available to them. Now you as an administrator, you can go with just the defaults, but you can also modify any of those defaults or even create your own ones. So if we look at our group templates, for example, you can see that in this case, for this intranet, we've made some custom templates that have to do with office location and departments, for example. For each of those content templates that you have in play, you can see how many pages are using that template. So if I click on the number 22, it's going to actually provide me with a list of every single page on the intranet that is using that specific template. Let's head back. If I have a content type that has multiple templates available, you'll see that one of them is the default. In this case, the department template is the default. You can also make that change and make another template the default. So if I hover over any of these, you're going to see on the right-hand side that there's an option to set that specific template as the default for, in this case, the content type group. So I'll click on that, and now you'll see that detailed directory is highlighted and it is marked as the default. If you want to make changes to the default template, just click on the pencil icon here on the right-hand side. And now we're back in that familiar view where we can see the cards that are available on these types of pages by default, what they look like, and where they are placed. So making any changes is fairly straightforward. You want to make a decision with regards to your page layout first, right? So that is the number of columns that are on the page and sort of the proportion that they have. So maybe in this case, I want to make that a 3-column navigation. Notice how right away, as I make the change, the template below it updates right away. Now that I've made that layout change, I can now look at the cards that are available on the template, and I can even optimize them or move them around. So perhaps I want my location card on the right, and perhaps I want to even add an additional card that shows me a calendar that my team can fill out. Again, this is our card library, so we have a lot of different options in here. If you don't see what you need right away, you can just start typing and it filters that card library directly with the one that you're looking for. If there's one card you feel you don't need for this specific type of setup, for example, there's 2 news cards here, perhaps I only want the one on the left-hand side, I can just remove it here. And once I'm happy with it, I can click on save. And those changes are now made directly into that default directory. If you already have pages set up with this detailed directory on the site, those changes that we made here in the admin panel are going to be pulling through on all of those existing pages as well. All of this is also fully multilingual, so any of these templates as they are named here, they can be made multilingual. So if I go and edit my branch demo template, for example, you'll notice that I have a drop down here where I can put in all of the values in the different languages that I'm using on my intranet as well. That's content templates. There are a lot of options that you have there, and it's really worthwhile to kind of give it some thought, probably after you have experimented a little bit with the content templates on an individual page, and after you use the Thought Farmer for a while, you're going to start to make sense of what is the best way for you to set up content templates for the different types of content on your internet, and then you can come and implement that here in the content templates area on the user interface. All right, so lastly, in this section of our video training, I want to take a look at labels. Now, labels in Thought Farmer are really just words, buttons, or overall terminology that you see throughout Thought Farmer. So for example, the history link here, that's a label. The word search here is a label. And any of these can be overridden if you would like to use different terminology for your intranet. So on this page here on the admin panel, we can see all of the labels that we have customized throughout the intranet. So let's take an example here. If I click on add a label, I can either just change it for English if you use the site only in one language, or if you use multiple languages, you can actually override the values for each different language if you want to. For now, let's just skip that option and stick with English. I'm going to find the label that I am looking for. In this case, I want to find another word for the activity on the site. I'm going to find the label all activity. If you are ever unsure on what the label is that you are looking for, we do have a full list of all of our labels on our documentation on the knowledge base. So definitely you can go there and find out exactly for sure which label it is that you want. So instead of all activity, I'm going to call this all updates. Click on save. And now we can see that this is showing up in our list of customized labels on the admin panel. So now wherever in the site it used to say all activity by default, it's now going to say all updates. And of course, you can remove any of these custom values or custom labels as you see fit if they no longer apply. Just click on the garbage can, and that is now going to go back to the default. This was a quick overview of the user interface section on the admin panel. We hope it's been helpful, and we hope that you'll move on to the next video.